before we jump in, because I'm sure like day trading is obviously going to be a thing
Mhm,
sprouting throughout this conversation, and I say trading in general, not day trading,
mhm.
right? I've been attracted to the day trading route. One of my goals for 2025 is to not only day trade, but to focus on my other trading skills. Because you put on such an amazing event down in Miami to learn options and some bigger trading stuff. But, talk just tell everybody listening in, like, who you are, like, why trading became a thing, what you do today, what your mission is, and just let's start there. So, like, hey, why should I spend the time to listen to this Jeremy guy I don't know for the next however long we're gonna talk?
Yeah, I love that, man. My mission is to enrich lives with mentally liberating education. I say mentally liberating because I grew up in a cult religion. I was a Jehovah's Witness for the first 24 years of my life. And I now definitely know the distinguishing difference between having extremely focused beliefs on something and knowing how to change those beliefs. That's what I've done over 36 years is I've changed my beliefs and the beliefs of others slowly over time into beliefs of abundance, prosperity, wealth. Currently, I serve as a wealth coach. That's my main gift to the world. And I just sold my company, Real Life Trading, that I founded 10 years ago. Real Life Trading was created to be a company that provides free education for anyone who wants it anywhere in the world that is specifically related to the stock market. And I got started in the stock market because of a movie, Forrest Gump. About 87% of the way through the movie, Forrest Gump says, Lieutenant Dan invested into some kind of fruit company and said, we don't have to worry about money no more. So I said, good, one less thing. And I never heard the words, we don't have to worry about money anymore. Like I'd never heard that phrase in my life. I was like 6 years old when I heard it. So naturally, being poor, dirt poor boy from Georgia, I asked my dad, what's investing? What's the fruit company? So he tells me about Apple and Apple computers. And then he tells me about what investing is. Like, what is the stock market? How does the stock market work? And to put it simply, he more or less said, if a bunch of people buy Apple and a bunch of people need to buy these computers, Apple is going to make more revenue. And if the company makes a lot of revenue, their stock price is going to go higher. And if we buy some of the stock, then our money should go up. So I said, let's do that. So this is 1994, 1995. And I went out, picked blackberries, made $3,000 selling blackberries door to door as a 6 year old. Sold them for $1 a bag. Well, I made 1,500 bucks. My dad matched the money. We bought $3,000 worth of Apple. And presently, those shares would be worth like $37 million, which is bananas. And I didn't hold on to that investment, unfortunately, but I did sell that stock in 2000, 6 or 7 years later. We quadrupled my investment. But it's cool to be, one of the people in the world that can say that they made a $30 million mistake. I think that's exciting. But so I've had to learn from that. I've had to go, okay, why and how, and can I teach other people to buy stocks now that could potentially do that 25 years from now, where they can turn $3,000 into millions? Like, is that possible? Is it doable? Right. And I think ultimately, man, just knowing the capacity and the ability for money and expansion in the movie, the scene that I never talk about is the one that happened right after he goes to the mailbox. After he goes to the mailbox, he starts cutting grass for free. And when he's cutting grass, he talks about that he invested into a school, a hospital, a church, and Forrest Gump retired Bubba's mom from the kitchen. So he used money to just help so many people in his community. And that was the part where I was like, oh, yes, I really want to do that. Like, I really, really, really want to help other people figure this stuff out, understand it so that I can donate, I can be a force for good, but also that I can circulate money because money is easy. Abundance is easy. Wealth is simple. And I just grew up having that mindset and it got instilled to me from that movie. And so 30 years later, right, 3 decades later, I'm here as someone who's been very, very humbled many times in the markets. I've learned the lessons that I need to learn. I'm not going to repeat those lessons. I got the t-shirt, I got the wardrobe, I got the closet from all the pain and all the mistakes. And so going forward, I'm able to shift other people's mindsets and beliefs and money and wealth around attraction, magnetism, expansion, and creating incredible wealth to be forces for good.
I love it. I love it. I remember distinctly as you come in and I'm sitting there, and I think it was the day prior when Nate absolutely drilled us into the ground, and it's like
Mhm.
40 degrees outside. We're soaking wet, carrying 5-gallon buckets of water and all of these things, and just like half dead. And you write, I don't remember the specific numbers, but you came out of the gates with, here's how much money moves every single day the New York Stock Exchange is open. And I'm just like, that's definitely way more than $1 per person per day on this earth.
Mhm.
And you start breaking it down and it's like, wait. So all I need to figure out is how do I just splice out like 0.001% of this, and it's something that makes an impact on life. If you can think about, how do I just squeeze out 300, 500 bucks a day? Like, we don't
Mhm.
need to be thinking about hundreds of thousands and millions and billions and trillions of dollars. Like, I think everybody goes down that road of like, it's got
Mhm.
to be that big. But all of a sudden it became this, wow, the stock market is actually very reachable. I'm not trying to beat anybody. I'm just trying to like grab my little piece of that pie, like super little piece, which can change the majority of people's lives. Like, I'm
Amen.
pretty sure Elon Musk doesn't need to go sit there or think about trying to do this, right? Like, we know that there's certain people that, hey, doesn't matter. But would an extra 1,000, 2,000, or $3,000 a week change somebody else's life? Absolutely, in a
Mhm.
massive way. So
Mhm. It
that was
changed my life, man. Like that was the
yeah.
first trade I ever did. I'm actually in the stock right now. For the very first trade I ever purchased, it was a stock called First Majestic Silver, ticker symbol AG. And when this was 2009, I had $9,000 in my 401k at work. I worked at Nationwide Insurance, go Nationwide, cool company. And I had 401k. I learned how to do what's called a self-directed 401k. I was at school at the time, so I was going to school full time and working full time to make sure I didn't have any college debt. So, working 60 hours a week and going to school full time. Awesome. Making the money, learned how to read it, the entire packet, 401k packet that people leave at your desk. I read it cover to cover, understood how to do it, and started buying shares of First Majestic Silver inside my 401k. And I bought 1,000 shares at $9 because I had $9,000 in my 401k. So I went, how many shares can I? 9,000 divided by nine. Boom. That's how many I'm buying. Bought 1,000 shares. It went up to 12. I sold it. 9 to 12 is $3 times 1,000 shares is $3,000. That was more money than I made in a month. Right. I was making like 2,400 bucks a month post taxes, post, benefits and all that stuff. I was like, good grief. I did that in 3 days. What? And that was a huge change for me because who doesn't, when they're 18, 19, who's not living paycheck to paycheck, right? Everyone, essentially, 99% of the planet. And I'm there doing the exact same thing, but now I just got 3,000 extra dollars. And
Yeah.
that sent my entire being into this crazy, oh my goodness, I don't have to wait years because I knew about the Apple thing, right? It's like I don't have to make years to make this money. I can do it in days. Oh my goodness. And I became a maniac. I became the most obsessed person on earth to figure out how this game worked.
Yeah. It's wild. I mean, just seeing that and learning that, and finance and business and growth and wealth, all those things, I wouldn't say have come easy to me, but I'm willing to run into that brick wall time and time again. And like, I'll get through the darn thing, not around it, not over it, not under it. I will go through the thing and I'll get it there. Right. That's my mentality. But seeing what it is possible is just crazy. And I
Mhm.
think the crazier thing, I remember you saying, hey, if you qualify, and you do the thing, then you can go ahead and get our own money to trade with, right?
Mhm.
And learning it and understanding like the idea of these types of prop accounts and everything and what's out there, it is feasible to spend, I don't know, a couple hundred to a few $1,000s and get, with a lot of asterisks and context and, things that need to be added, $100,000 to go trade with, right? Like
Mhm.
it is very feasible. You don't actually have to have your own.
Mhm.
Um, and for me, that was appealing because I'm like, I don't want to throw my own money on the line that I don't know what I'm doing anything with. But on the flip side, if you don't have $100,000 to go trade with, you can get there by not having to put 100K in. So,
Right.
um,
Right.
but I love it. So, a couple of things that I questions from your story. Did you make the 3,000 or $1,500 doing door-to-door sales because you were good at sales or because you were a 6-year-old selling blackberries?
Is it? Am I allowed to say both?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I learned so much, man, because again, I'm also a Jehovah's Witness at this time, right? So I have already been door to door. I have already faced rejection, getting doors closed in my face. One of my favorite quotes: "It's not your resources, it's your resourcefulness." I have no resources. I'm six. Like, I don't have any money. Obviously, I don't have anything. I'm 6 years old. But I knew that people lived in houses. I've already knocked on doors, right? As a Jehovah's Witness, trying to change people's religious beliefs. um, and here I am, shirtless, shoeless, wearing jean shorts, selling blackberries for 65% cheaper than you can buy them in a grocery store. Bro, like if you answer the door, you absolutely bought berries. It's a
Yeah.
guarantee. And and I met a few older ladies and some cute grandmas and granddads that would give me 5 or 10 or 20 and not get any berries.
Yeah.
So they just thought it was cute. Um, but I did have a pretty good, compelling pitch. Like I understood from a very young age. I'd hear my dad subconsciously talk on the phone because he was in pharmaceutical sales. So I was always with my dad, and I'd always hear him leave voicemails and be nice to doctors and just talk to them and just try to explain things. So my sales pitch, essentially, when I was going door to door, I was going, "My name is Jerremy Newsome. I just handpicked these blackberries just for you. They're only $1 a bag. How many do you want to buy?" That was my pitch, and so it was strong, dude. And it taught me so many lessons, so many lessons. And
Yeah.
you know this, man. I think every entrepreneur, big successful entrepreneur, at some point has that story of going out and doing something in the sales game because you got to get that rejection. You have to understand how to value proposition yourself, right? Only $1 a bag. How many? Like I'm already assuming they want to buy it because it's $1 a bag. I mean, I'm giving this at a, you buy blackberries right now in your store and they're 3.25 for a
Yeah.
box. And I had more berries in a plastic bag than you're going to get for 3.25 anyway. So saying all that to say, I was aware of these components, so I offered a better product at a cheaper price.
Yeah.
I already assumed they wanted it. Though if you do those three things, you can do really well in the markets. Now, obviously, me knowing what I know now, probably should have priced it higher than the store because they're handpicked, they're organic, right? And you get better margins that way. But the truth of the matter is, I would love every single person listening to understand this one fact. If you believe in your product enough to sell it door to door in your own neighborhood, go do it. Because if you're ever running out of money or getting into a cash crunch, there's going to be no person better to sell your product than the person who created it, AKA you or the entrepreneur. And you need to be able to understand how to do that in front of people to understand their opposition, the reason they may or may not want to buy your product, understanding how to talk to people and understanding how to provide it at a great value to them so they actually have use for it.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree with that more. If you're good at something, you can tell the story of why that's something, why that thing, why you created whatever it might be, a process, a system, a widget, uh picked blackberries, whatever it is. Nobody's going to be better than you and getting out there to do the thing cuz like you talk about real life trading and you did it and lived it and breathed it and birthed the thing, right?
Mhm.
No one's going to be able to talk about that better than you can, right? And speaking of, like, you kind of threw it in there, 10 years, you sold the company. Awesome. Congrats. I've sold the company before, and that is one of those, like, bittersweet moments of, like, man, I
Yeah.
blood, sweat, and tears. Did I get enough for this thing? And not necessarily just specifically the dollars and cents of it, but just the overall arching feeling, right?
Hmm.
But congrats on that, but, like,
Thanks, man. Thank you.
talk a little bit more about RLT and, the free education side of things, but, like, there was probably evolutions of this company, right?
Mm.
Around for 10 years, it's not gonna look the same, like, talk about that a little because there's a lot of people here that are entrepreneurial in nature, and just the evolution of business is always fascinating.
So fascinating. I think probably the best thing I ever did, it was all by accident. I'll say accident air quotes. I don't know if I was guided or being led or stupid and didn't have an idea of what to actually do. But the very first year or two of real life trading, I made it extremely exclusive. And I was a man of my word. What I mean by that is you'll hear offers all the time, only 25 spots left or whatever. If you see me say there's 25 spots left in something, that's how many spots there are. And if you're the 26th person, you're not getting in. I'll say, nope, sorry, man, I'm sold out. And I did that when I started RLT. What I did to launch the company is I had people who reached out to me on Facebook, on Twitter, and I had already been messaging people to help them with their trading, right? Just going in and understanding what the buttons mean. I've always understood the buttons. I've always understood the second grade math of the markets, right? 2,000 shares times $2 movement is 4 grand. Like I've always got that math. So I'm helping people understand here's what a market is, here's what a limit is, here's what a limit sell, limit buy, here's good till cancel, here's good till cancel with extended hours. Like I'm helping with I just did that for free. I did that for free for like 2 years before I even launched real life trading. So step one, I helped people organically for free, poured into them, giving them tons of value. Then I launched the company and said, hey, I'm only accepting 25 people. And I'll tell you why it was 25 people into an exclusive container where I will share my stock picks, what I'm buying, where I'm buying, and I will help you buy what I buy when I buy it. $99 a month. Put it on my Facebook, posted on Twitter, sent out some emails, and I got 75 people that said yes. So I just went in the email and just selected the first 25 people that emailed me like chronologically. Sold everyone else too bad. And the reason it was only 25 people, and this is my limited thinking, was I used a product called, you probably even heard of it, dude, Group Me. It was like a text messaging app. And
Yep.
they, do you remember that?
Yes.
It's like Skype. But you could only have 25 people. That was the biggest group that they could handle at the time. And again, this is 10 years ago. So that's why I did it. I just maxed out the platform. I was like, all right, me and 25 other people. And that's the most they can be on this group. And that's why I did. And all the other 75 people or 50 people in the email were like, man, I'm so sorry I couldn't get in. Like, can you let me know when the next one's going to be? I'm like, yeah, but I mean, I will, but we're good. So I did that for 2 years. Those 25 people, only one person left. And when that person left, I sent out another email and posted on Facebook again and posted on Twitter again. And I got 100 people. And I picked one. And I hand wrote every other 99 people back and said, sorry, 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 sorry. It's full, it's full, it's full. Bro, there is nothing like telling people they can't buy your product that drives people crazy. And so for 2 years, like the first 2 years, I had a very limited group of people. And I poured into those people like you wouldn't believe. I mean, these people made money, they understood the market, they got it. I was spending 4 hours a day with these people. And then 2 years into business, after reading books and understanding the markets and making some money in trading, I was like, all right, I think it's time to open the floodgates. And I told everyone again, I was like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. I'm only going to allow you to buy this product for 2 days. I'm gonna have this link. The link's going to work. It's going to work for 48 hours. If you don't buy in the next 48 hours, you'll never get in again until I launch the next one, right? Like 48 hours and 1 minute, that link was gone. 325 people had signed up. And so those people were paying monthly. It was $99 a month at the time. And so that's kind of like the evolution of that business, where it was an online business. It was what I call service as a service, right? There's a SaaS, software as a service. This was service as a service, right? You pay me and I'm gonna provide you service.
Yep.
And if you pay me monthly. And so I had this $99 plan, but when you go to 300 and some change paying $99, that's $30,000 a month. So that's 2 years into business. This business is doing 330,000 MRR, monthly reoccurring. That's not that bad. I mean, a lot of people, they probably think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. But I was still trading. I still had money at the time. So I didn't really need any of that money. So I just took all that money and put it back into the business and just started growing, marketing and hiring people now. And it just start explodes over time because I just kept being a man of my word. I understood quote unquote marketing. I understood quote unquote that people want to be around great people who are doing great things for the world. And I was a man of my word and I had integrity. If you blend those things together, you're going to be an absolute monster. And that's why barbecue, you might know Nashville, Tennessee, there's a company called Edley's. So Edley's only had like two locations for a long period of time. And they had their brisket, and their brisket was absolutely bomb. But the brisket would sell out almost every day by like 2 or 3 p.m. So if you wanted Edley's brisket, which is probably the best in the world that I've ever had, and it's stunning, you got to get there by 2. After 2, guess what happened? You go up and you go, no, sorry, man, no more brisket. People that drove people mad. so but they were honest. They didn't have any more brisket. So if they said, hey, we're going to sell out today, they would sell out. It is genius to not give people things, but to give them things, but to not give them things. And knowing how to become exclusive and knowing how to be a person of your word, I mean, that will absolutely create a firestorm of people that are excited about doing business with you because you're truthful.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're also creating exclusivity, not
Hmm.
by you have to pay me 10, 20, 30 grand. It was
Hmm.
$99 a month
Hmm.
exclusivity, right? Like we I feel like in today's world we get those two things kind of intermingled a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't have things that cost a lot of money, but you don't have to have it in order to kind of
Right.
provide an exclusive service.
Precisely. Precisely. Pick a number. Again, you can definitely go high. You don't have to go high. But if you're starting out, what most people do incorrectly, unfortunately, is they go ahead and charge too much money starting out. They really do. They charge way too much money and they don't have any experience doing what they're doing. They're like, I want to start a brand new coaching product. I want to be a coach. Cool. How long have you coached? Coach what? They haven't even coached a basketball team. Like they've never coached. And so I mean, you're trying to charge $3,000 for a thing. Like, bro, why?
Yep.
Why are you charging that amount? Like, where's that number come from? Oh, I need to pay my bills. You shouldn't be a coach, homie. I'm sorry about you. Like, sorry to tell you the truth. Like, what are you doing coaching? You can't make your monthly payments without charging people for coaching. That's a problem. Go work, go get a job, study more,
Yeah.
and then go help hundreds of people. Like, bro, I would love your listeners. Go try to find something negative about me on the internet. Knock yourself out. Go for it. Can't do it. Can't do it. I've been in the game for 12, 13 years, providing amazing value. And the worst thing you're going to read about me on the internet is I laugh too loudly and too often. So provide really good value to people and really, really care and keep doing that and actually providing sustainable results for whoever it is that you're working with. And you will eventually blow up. It's just a matter of time.
I'm willing to bet that there's a conglomerate, and by conglomerate, some small percentage of people that you've interacted with, but I know you've interacted with a lot of people that are going to turn around and say, well, Jeremy didn't provide the result, or I didn't get the thing, or whatever. And just because, going through stuff and courses and experiences and learning, especially the game of trading, um, and I'd be willing to bet that 99.9% of those people didn't do what they needed to do to get the thing done. And I went, so you used to offer through RLT a 90 days to trade masterclass. And that's what I took to get myself into learning trading. And even going through that class, and I tried to be super inquisitive, ask the dumb questions just because like I need to get them out there and get them out of my brain. And I'm by nature, like I went to school for engineering. So
Mhm,
looking at a chart and knowing that every single one of those lines or,
mhm,
signals or whatever is on there actually doesn't mean anything, but also at the same time means everything. Because, like, for me, being very 1 plus 1 equals 2, not 1
mhm,
plus 1 might equal 2 once in a while, maybe, never, sort of. It was really hard for me, like, convert this chart into feelings, and the chart converts feelings into the chart. It's just that was a
Uh,
struggle. So let me just ask the dumb questions and be that idiot on the call.
I love
There
it.
was a lot of people in the chat who wouldn't ask the questions, but, like, 3 weeks later didn't understand the concept. And it was like,
Mhm.
you have to be willing to be a student and do the work and put the reps in order to succeed at anything you do, like trading or not trading. But you just and there's, I think, inherently this population today, and I think that age is probably part of it, but not all of it. That is, what's the silver bullet? I want to make it easy. Isn't there a bot for that? Can I do this easy thing? Like, why do I have to work so hard and keep studying and keep trying? And that's something where, I mean, you've said a couple of times, like, you became a highly skilled individual at this thing, then that thing, and you studied hard in that thing, and you wanted to learn all about the thing. And I don't think people today are as willing to do that, or as motivated maybe to get it done. But you also have a part of your life where you actually help specifically men, but you have people that help specifically females work through some of that stuff as well, right? Kind of
Mhm.
bridging into that sense. So maybe talk about the, you got to take action and get things done in order for you to get the outcome. And the the wonder stories we've heard about, like, oh, this one person bought the penny stock, or they worked out for 30 seconds a day and they got the body of their dreams or whatever. Like, that's not the norm, and the silver bullets don't truly exist, at least in my opinion.
I mean, no, it's a super valid question. I mean, what I hear you saying is when you said people take action, this is what's very fascinating. Me knowing what I know now, and not only business, but also trading and the stock market, and just let's just call it wealth and money and that vibration, that frequency. What I have learned is you have to do something. I heard someone say, "Oh, you can't just sit on the couch and hope that it happens." It's like, well, it's not necessarily true. How long are you going to sit on the couch, and how are you going to hope? Like, it can be a potential determination factor. For example, what I mean by that is, could you sit on a couch for 12 hours a day and pray for 12 hours consistently every day until something began to change? And the answer is probably. Like, that's significant. Like, that's an action. But now, granted, you might not be building a business, you might, and it might be an entirely different energy there. You might be gifted something, you might have to receive something, you might get a phone call, but doing 12 hours of something, or really anything, is probably going to be more than most people will do anything. Another great example, and you remember me talking to this about the when I went to the live event with you, is going on a Monday through a Friday for 12 hours in a park, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., and just sitting there with a pen and paper, listening, thinking, writing, doing that. Most men, women, most people have never done that in their lives. In their lives. Like, again, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., no cell phone, pen and paper in a park, Monday through Friday, just sit there and write. No one does that. And the people that do that, we call them homeless, right? Because we think they're homeless, and maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know. But they're in this park and they're probably sitting there on a bench, just enjoying life, listening, thinking, meditating, praying, whatever. Whatever action it is that you want to take it massively, because it doesn't have to be hard specifically. For example, for me, most of the action that ended up working was meeting people like you, talking to people like you, and helping individuals. That was it. That was the action that I took every single day. If I went to Panera, if I was in an Uber, if I got Starbucks, if I went to Burger King, I would interact with people and I would help them understand the stock market. I would help them get invested. I would help them make more money. That's what I was doing. And if you help more people, I mean, this was the very, very first, probably personal quote, personal finance, personal development quote that I ever really attached to, was Zig Ziglar. If you want to make $1 million, help 1 million people. And that was the most obvious formula. Help 1 million people, you'll make $1 million. And the truth is, and Steve, you know this to be true, man. Like, you really will probably do it around 10,000.
Yeah.
Like, listen, before you get to, well, before you get to a million people, but you have to have that mindset of, let me actually go help individuals do something. Doesn't have to be make more money. It could be lose more weight. It could see better. It could have a better relationship. It could grow better hair. It could be don't grow any hair. It could be have a better yard. Anything.
Yep.
You can create value out of anything. I know a guy who made a couple million selling beehives on Amazon, but they were really good beehives. It's like anything. You can do anything. You just have to do it and do it consistently. If you're going to pray 12 hours, good. Do it for multiple days in a row. Don't do it for one day and you're done for the rest of your life. Like, you need to spend time connecting to God multiple times a day if you're going to go that route. If you're not going to go that route and you're going to be a workaholic, beautiful. I was telling you right before we started this webinar together, this podcast together, me and you, I haven't taken a 2-week vacation in my life. And when I say vacation, I don't mean like, traveling abroad and like staying on a beach. And like, I've done all those things, but not working for 2 weeks continuously, like Monday to Monday to Monday. I haven't done that ever.
I get anxious just hearing you say that. I'm like,
I
man,
do. I
that's a
know,
lot.
man. And I realized that, by the way, to be fair to people, and like, again, I've taken vacations, I've gone to all the beaches and done all the things, but I still worked. Maybe I didn't work for 5 days, maybe I didn't work for 3 days, but 2 weeks, no cell phone, no computer, no internet, just family and books. I've never done that. So I'm doing that in 2 weeks from now. We rented a cabin in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, middle of nowhere, and we're just going to hang out for 2 weeks and just eat and read books and see what happens. Read, sleep.
Love it.
It's going to be amazing, but it's really going to push me out of my comfort zone as well. And to the point of you having that like random rush of anxiety, same for me. And
Yeah.
so the reason I'm bringing that up for people listening is that's what massive action looks like on the other side, where it's, I have worked 12 hours a day, essentially 327 days a year for the last 3 decades. There's a book, there's a book, I don't know, sorry, a movie, Central Intelligence, with The Rock and Kevin Hart. And I always remember this quote. The movie was stupid, but Kevin Hart meets The Rock, and The Rock was a fat guy in high school. And Kevin Hart's like, dang, dude, what'd you do? Like, how'd you work? Like, how'd you look like this? And he goes, oh man, it was the easiest thing ever. I spent 4 hours in the gym every day for 20 years. Like, no, I look like this. So to your point, for the listeners, right? I seen Steve work out, and Steve is obviously a very healthy man, which means he's very a wealthy man. But I saw Steve throw around like 75-pound weights because that's all they had. Like, they only had 75-pound weights in this gym, and you were doing them like they were my 25-pound weights. I was like, good grief. Like, I mean, you're just yanking them around. There's zero chance you do that for your very first time, right? Zero. Like, if you've never been to the gym, you're not doing what Steve did that day. No chance. And if you are, you're breaking something forever.
Yeah.
So you build up to that, but you've also been going to the gym probably 5-6 days a week for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So again, same point, as you build in a habit, whatever you do, whatever action you're taking, it needs to be massive.
Yeah.
Really, really massive.
It becomes a part of life, right? And you
Mhm.
said the word consistency and intention, throughout there. And it's like, consistency just becomes your life at some point in time, right? Like, you
Mhm.
consistently eat something, generally speaking, daily. Well, if you can consistently eat, then you consistently consume nutrients. Maybe it's too much, maybe it's too little, whatever. But if you consistently work out, you're also going to build that, and that just becomes a lifestyle. So,
Mhm.
um, well, before we break away from the trading side of things, like, give me, if I'm new to this whole idea, and I get that trading can be beneficial and I can make some money, et cetera, et cetera. Like, what's one or two things that I should investigate? And I asked that knowing the strategy you shared through that masterclass,
Yeah.
right? And that thing isn't necessarily what I do today. It's a piece of my plan, but without
Sure.
learning that, I would never be where I'm at. So, like, what what one or two things should I do if trading is something brand new to me? How do I think about it? What do I go learn? What do I investigate?
And it's probably less trading and it's probably more investing is really ultimately the answer. Let's just call it shorter term investing. So most people, when they hear the word investing, they think 20 years and they think the word portfolio and they think the word diversify and they think the word boring. All valid points. I don't even know 20 years. I can't imagine 20 years. Like that's so huge. But I can imagine 2 years and I can definitely imagine 2 months. So let's just call really, really short term investing. Step number one, what companies are you touching or using every day? Google, Amazon, Apple, Tesla, General Motors, Ferrari. Like, what do you drive? What do you wear? What do you talk to? How do you talk to it? What computers do you use? Buy that. Buy what you know and focus on the biggest companies in the world, top 30, and buy them aggressively. Treat them like savings accounts because they are the same thing. It is cash and cash equivalent. If you put anyone listening to this, they take their savings and instead of having it sitting in a boring savings account, you put it into the stock market, aka specifically Apple, the largest company in the world. They make $90 million of revenue a minute. You'll be fine. So the stock's going to go higher over time. I've been telling people that since 2010, by the way. So it's like it's going to keep going higher. So if you take your money, treat it like a savings account, buy Apple aggressively. And that's all you do. That's all you do. That's it. Just buy Apple aggressively for the next 2 years. Your money is going to increase. So if you put in 10,000, 10, 100,000, or $10, like that number will go up over time because you're doing it consistently. You're not doing it once and leaving it alone forever. You're putting every paycheck, you put in 20 bucks, 200 bucks, 2,000 bucks. You're taking this money and you're buying Apple. Now, why am I picking Apple? It's the largest company in the world. That's why. Game over. It pays a dividend. It's profitable. They have $326 billion in cash. It's going to go higher. So that's why I pick Apple. Everyone uses it. Everyone knows it. It's a really, really good investment long term. Now, is it going to go up 400%? No, right? It's already done that. It's already made that move. So now, as you're investing, probably step two, Steve, is I have again a free education class on investing. And I would say for anyone listening, go to reallifetrading.com and go through all my free beginner courses. I have essentially a master's degree that you can get in the stock market for free.
Hours,
Yeah.
hours of education over there with that
It's
stuff.
so much, man. It's so many hours. And go through it, learn it. And once you make a little bit of money on Apple and you grow your whatever that net worth is, 10,000 turns into 16,000. Take that 16,000 and then buy something a little bit more aggressive, right? Maybe instead of the top 30 largest companies in the world, maybe the top 70, right? Shopify, which a lot of people use, Square, which a lot of people use, PayPal, which a lot of people use, Reddit, which a lot of people use, Facebook, aka Meta, Netflix. Like you can buy something other than the Apple, the Google, the Amazon, and then again. At that point in time, you probably will have understood how to analyze a company, how to notice if you're buying it high, how to notice if you're buying it low, and then you can take that 16,000, put it into one of those companies, and that'll grow. And then again, it doesn't matter if that's 2 months, 2 weeks, or 2 years. And then you take that now 16,000 plus your savings, all right? Because you're still doing that. You're still taking your money instead of putting into a savings account, you're putting into that one stock that you chose. Let's call it Reddit or Pinterest. And you're buying that, and that 16,000 is now 36,000. Take that 36,000, put it into another big company again. Johnson Johnson, Procter and Gamble, Pfizer, Eli Lilly, Nvidia. Let that grow. Now it's 50,000. And you just repeat this process over the course of 4 years. And then you'll have a tipping point where it actually matters. Once you have over $100,000, you now have more dollars than days left to live. Now you can start hiring things out, buying things, using money to buy time, using money to buy knowledge, using money to buy skills and expansion. And then it can really start to matter. And if you get good, instead of it being 4 years, it can be 1 year. But it's going to take longer than you want it to. Every single person here listening wants to make whatever amount of money tomorrow, but it's not going to happen. But it guaranteed can happen over a period of time because investing is a math formula. Financial freedom is a math formula. Crazy wealth, insane, life changing, life altering wealth is second grade math repeated consistently. Once you understand the principles and you just do the work, your life will change forever.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great way to put it. Second grade math repeated consistently
Hmm.
is literally the path to financial freedom. It's
Hmm.
not more complex than that. We just
Nope.
we make it more complex, and we sometimes bury our head in the sand because, hey, we're taught all these things and this is just what we'll do, and we'll keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm willing to bet whatever your parents did is not what you should be doing, generally
Right.
speaking.
Yep. Most likely. Most likely that's
So
the case.
well, so we mentioned this retreat that we had down in Miami. We talked about trading, and we had a couple of conversations there around the election. Now, you did make a prediction, and we are post-election, and your prediction was incorrect. I'm
Yeah,
just
it
gonna,
was
you know,
100%.
I'm gonna throw that out there, and not to throw a jab, right?
No, dude, you know what's
No, no,
awesome, though, Steve? I've been wrong in the last 3 election predictions, by the way, to be fair.
perfect.
Yeah.
Not and that's not even a jab, but the point more so is like, hey, we had this massive catalyst
Mhm.
that was happening, and things were going to change no matter what the
Mhm.
outcome was.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I remember learning that you would say all the time is trading and investing isn't about when this happens I will do that. It's more about if this then that, and then
Mhm.
if that then this, and
Mhm.
learning what are the actions I'm going to take pending certain things happening. Now, presidential election obviously massive, but there's things happening almost daily that can impact what you're thinking about. Now, for those of you listening, time dependent, obviously Jeremy was thinking that the election in 2024 was going to go a different direction. And this
Mhm.
isn't necessarily a pro or con, but one of the outcomes is if you're in crypto, and I made a Facebook post about this, and Trump won, like Bitcoin and other cryptos have shot up tremendously
Oh my
in
gosh.
days and weeks. Now, there was somebody on my Facebook feed that I just got back into crypto and I made 20 grand, and all of these comments about, "Oh, what are you doing?" and this and that. And I'm just like, "Oh, it drove me nuts." Like, cuz there's it's just so frustrating to pray that there's people out there that are potentially preying on other people's like insecurity or belief system around money or crypto or whatever.
Mhm.
And you saw that post, but like talk about that a little bit. Like just the money side of this world is sadly also saturated with just a lot of bullshit, frankly.
Mhm. Mhm.
And there's a lot of opportunity to throw your money away on dumb shit.
There is, man. Yeah. My answer is essentially it's all going to boil down to what everyone refers to as FOMO, right? The fear of missing out. And it's a mindset shift. For me, you shift the mindset of instead of I'm missing out, just be thankful for what other people are doing, other people are making. Shift your essentially, let's call it jealousy or envy into gratefulness for them and for their family. And do your best to really, really, truly, truly be happy for them. Like, yes, I'm so happy they won. I'm so thankful for them. I'm so happy they paid off their house or they bought a new car. Or they bought down their debt because their assets appreciated. Be happy for that person. Because number one, that's going to create a better future for you, right? Happier people live better lives.
Yep.
Hashtag, that's a fact. All right. Now, when you're happier for other people, you've started to rewire this envy, this jealousy, this I am missing out, which will lead you to do dumb things. Because I don't feel like the market's controlled by fear and greed. I think the markets are controlled by fear and optimism, or maybe fear and financial zealousness. Too many people have too much zeal and they get way too excited about how much money is possible. But a blessing given too early is often a curse. Just like if we have children under the age of 15 and we give them a Lamborghini for their very first car, that's probably not going to work out. Not because they're going to wreck the car and you have to spend a bunch of money on the car. It's because they're going to wreck the car, which means they might get injured, right? Or they might injure someone else because it's too fast. Money that comes too fast will leave you because it's too quick. You're not that speed yet. You're not that container. You're not the person to be able to hold that. And I know that because I'm speaking from firsthand experience, right? The very first time I traded and made $1 million, I was 21. And I did the same thing every other 21-year-old will do, right? Went to bars and blew it and tried to get girls to like me and bought stupid clothes and all the things. So if you're not the container for the wealth will not stay with you. And for those of you who are listening and you have any type of FOMO on any particular industry, sector, crypto, market, Forex, futures, commodities, stocks, bonds, China, US, Argentina, India, just be very thankful for everyone else who's making money. Study what they did, find out how they did it. How did they know? What were the signals? Understand how they study, ask them powerful questions, and at the same juncture, at the exact same instance, be very, very thankful for what you have, for what you currently have, for what you were given. And then you can apply those principles of, all right, well, I studied, I asked a lot of questions. Can I take that information that I learned and then apply it to what I need to do for me personally? Because if you are not in something that's going up because you're in a mutual fund and you're making 4% that year on $200,000, and you're like, man, there's Steve and Jeremy making 100% return since Trump got elected. Like, I'm missing out. You are. It's okay. Be thankful. Change your envy to appreciation, then study. And instead of being a victim, become a victor. Learn, go win, go spend time, because the book is called Think and Grow Rich. We have to think, and thinking is studying, learning, reading, buying knowledge. The internet has made knowledge so trendy, but it's only valuable when it's applied. So you can do something all day long, do it the wrong way, it doesn't work, or learn everything, don't do anything, it doesn't work. You have to blend the two: study, think, implement. Just like we said earlier, consistent, massive action will change your life dramatically.
Yeah, no, that's well said. If you missed the thing, go learn the thing so the next time the thing is going to happen, you can be prepared. Don't necessarily just throw money at something you don't fully understand.
Hmm.
And don't it's a form of FOMO, which I think is very true. And that's like you nailed it right on the head for me. I went through the course you held, and I just had massive FOMO issues of trying to jump in things and do stuff that I just wasn't prepared for, and I had to work through that pretty hard. Um, and I consider myself a pretty controlled individual, so
Mm,
it was hard,
yeah.
flipping gears a little bit. So prediction wise, and we all have to kind of if this then that, and then if that then this type situation when it comes to what we're doing in life in general, and obviously we're talking about investing. But moving out of there and the election as a whole, but we just went through on Monday night, so or on Sunday night rather, 2 days ago, from when we're recording this, President Biden basically waved like, hey, my son did some things wrong, he was convicted, but I'm going to completely say he's pardoned, all good. What are your thoughts? Because I frankly have some mixed feelings on this, right? And it's one of those pieces. I don't think this is a Democrat versus a Republican
Hmm.
debate on any level. I'm sure there's some people who will say it is, or at least personally, I don't think it is. But like, talk about that a little. And I always enjoy these subjects just to truly like, hey, let me expand and learn how other people think about things that are kind of heated debates sometimes, which I don't think they should be.
Yeah, I totally believe that anyone should have the ability. I mean, when it comes to what's the four things that everyone says you shouldn't talk about? Money, sex, religion, politics. What are the four things that everyone should learn to talk about?
Yep.
Because it's the conversation is the ability to actually be able to have conversations openly. If two people disagree on something, fantastic. That's how opinions get shifted. That's how beliefs get altered and beliefs get changed. My two takes on it. Number one, if I was a dad, I would do anything to make sure that my son never faces punishment for anything he does. That's, I think, a very natural dad thing. Do we know that they should? Yeah. Do we want them to? No. So, bro, I kind of think It's the most gangster dad move in the world. Realistically, that's what I really think. Ultimately, he's like, I'm the president. I can pardon people. I'm allowed to do that. I'm going to pardon my son because obviously everyone knows he did bad things. And what are you going to do about it? That's how I initially feel like in his mind. He's like, I'm going to leave this presidency with actually doing one thing. I'm going to do
Boom.
something. This is the thing I'm going to do.
Boom.
Yeah, right. Where, hey, I get exactly why he did it. Right. Would I do the same thing in the exact same situation? Probably.
I think
Probably.
so. My
Yeah.
daughter is facing something, especially that massive. I feel like I'm gonna pull that trigger should I have the like. There's one person in the world that has that power, and like you have the power. Like
Right.
you
Right,
know,
man. Exactly. So I think to that extent, that's really my ultimate belief on it is that I think it was a dad move. And the fact that he has his position that he has and that he knows he needs to do something, he did that. Now, Trump also has certain allegations and convictions as well going against him, and he's sliding into the presidency. So now you're like, oh, wow. Okay. Does crime not just matter anymore? Right? Does the justice system not matter anymore? What I think is it does show a glaring hole that we do need a little bit more robust judicial systems as well. Right? There are some glaring evidences that there should be some more work, some more tweaks, some more adjustments, some more um, leaders that can provide ultimate information, education, or continued updated tweaks to our judicial system as a country. Because how many people are slipping through the cracks that shouldn't be, and how many people are getting way over penalized that shouldn't be? Are these things a problem? And I think they're definitely a situation that needs to be addressed at some point. At some point, but I think from the side of what he did and what he's going to do going forward, I don't think anyone's going to talk about the whole Hunter Biden situation 2 years from now. I think it'll be something that everyone forgets all about, except if you're a really, really, really political nerd. Maybe it comes up in conversation as like, and you hold a grudge to Biden forever for doing it, but probably not. Um, I mean, how many people know how the people that Obama pardoned? Or that Trump pardoned, or that Bush, or that Clinton. Like, how many people know all the people they pardoned by all like by?
I was looking. I don't remember. I was looking at a list, and you can find the list of
Oh,
how
you can
many
find it
people
for sure.
each president pardoned, and I think like Bush or somebody pardoned like 2,000 people. It
Mhm.
might not be Bush. Don't absolutely quote me on that. I just remember the top one was like 2,000. Like whoa, like that's a lot of people that got
Yeah,
pardoned.
yeah, agreed. And so again, that's a Google Chat GPT thing that we can learn. But what I'm getting at is that's the if we don't want the president to have that capacity, should we make that change? Sure, because technically, if the president knew that someone needed to be pardoned and became the president and had to pardon that person, they had the ability to do that, and then that person shouldn't be pardoned. Could that be scary? Could that be bad? Could that be negligible? Very possible. A lot of people know that the president has almost no power specifically. I mean, they're very, very tied to what they can do, but that's one where they kind of, in a way, have a little bit of carte blanche. So if we need to, and we feel outraged by this, which I don't personally, I really could care less. That's ultimately the answer. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. I think that at some stage, if we need to talk about the president having that capacity, maybe we make some updates, maybe we don't. And if we don't, hey, good job, Hunter. Glad your dad was president to get you he's the only person that could have got you out of that. He's the only one, bro, that could get you out of that pickle. And he did. So I hope that Thanksgiving is better for you now.
Yeah, I agree. That's at the end of the day, as a dad, you're gonna do what you can, especially severe punishment. You know, hopefully
Mhm.
behind a door, he gave him like a firm finger pointing, talking to, or something.
Correct. Correct.
Um, you know, as every dad should to their
Oh,
child.
it
But
wouldn't be that firm if it's Biden. He wouldn't.
well, firm for Biden, firm for Biden.
Yeah.
So, but well, so we've beat the wealth thing, you know, pretty well in this conversation. But as we're kind of button up against time here and start to wrap up, thinking about relationships, thinking about health. as two of the three other pillars that I really like to focus on in these conversations. Give me some overall thoughts around those two topics, that really you think about, and something that's maybe actionable for somebody listening that they can go and improve those components of their life and what they have going on.
Details matter. That's something that Nate Bailey told us. I mean, if you're talking wealth from a giant component of what it is, you have to understand, as you mentioned earlier, it is relationships, it is your spirituality, aka relationship with yourself, aka relationship with God, aka relationship with whatever higher power you do or do not believe in. It's going to be a relationship with your money. And if you have your health, if you have your relationships with family, right, and you have money, you're doing really, really well. You are wealthy. You've made it. And if you're anemic in one of those areas, so let's say, I mean, how many people do I know that have a six pack and no money? Tons. I mean, people I know that have tons of money and no health, probably even more from a percentage standpoint. And then, of course, how many people have a lot of money, great body, but their wife hates them? If you can sit down and say, all right, what I like to do is it's called the wheel of life. I'm sure everyone's done this experiment once or twice, but you have like 10 categories: hobbies, career, family, money, finances, health, right? Your body. You have these categories and just go on a 1 to 10, one being awful, 10 being perfect, and just fill it out. And I do that once a year. And the lowest score gets the majority of my focus that year. And for the past 2 years, and probably next year as well, it's been faith. Faith being like spirituality, connection to God, and just knowing what I am, who I am, why I am, being really, really connected. It's not my strongest suit. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay to openly talk about that. It's not my absolute number one gift. Therefore, I'm pouring in time to that. I'm pouring in energy to that. I'm writing books. I'm reading. I'm studying. I'm asking. I'm tweaking. I'm optimizing. I'm adjusting. I'm really spending time on my spirituality to learn more about what everyone calls God, what everyone calls universe, what everyone calls cosmic energy. I want to know that more. I want to know that peace. I want to know that part of love. And I want to know what it feels like and what it looks like. And I'm going down that journey. So every year I do calibrate, where am I? What do I need to focus on? And knowing that you can focus on all pieces. The number one quote that people get wrong in life is: a jack of all trades is a master of none. Because there's more to that quote, right? It goes: a jack of all trades is a master of none, but often better than a master of one. So my tagline on Twitter for like 7 years was a Jeremy of all trades, right? Like I know a lot of things about a lot of things. And I wouldn't specifically say that one area of my life is the predominant focus, because I think every day I can spend an hour on something. I
I'm
think,
gonna I'm gonna disagree with you real quick.
sure.
I think you're a freaking rock star. Just throwing that out there.
Thank you, bro.
Like, what if
Thank
we need
you.
to add the 11th category of like rock star awesomeness and just overall great human, that is a
Thanks,
solid
bro.
11 out of 10, and you are dominating that category.
Bro, you're the
Just throwing
fucking
that out
man.
there.
You're the man. Thank you, bro. Thank you. I mean, seriously, I receive that fully. I feel that fully. You're an amazing man to give me that gift and to give me that compliment, because you spend a lot of time with people. But here's why I would also rate myself very high in that category, is because every day I believe two things. Two things will change every person's life here. Life is long, right? Life is not short. Life is very long. It's the longest thing we'll ever consciously experience. So if you say life is short, that's a scarcity mindset, verbatim, right? And life is not hard. Life is easy. You get to live every single day. You get to wake up every day. What a fucking gift, dude. This is amazing. If you say to yourself, life is easy and life is long, it's going to change your whole life. Everything's going to start updating for you. Everything's going to become better. Moments become longer. Experiences become longer. You start gifting yourself with more time. I think I can spend an hour every day on my money, on my wife, on my health, on my relationship with God, on my relationship with me, on my relationship with my kids. Like I can go down, I mean, 10 hours a day, an hour of focus every single day in something. That still gives me 14 hours to do whatever else I want. I mean, that's an amazing amount of time. Every single person listening to this, all they want to do is spend more time with their kids. So they're like, let me go make a bunch of money so I can go spend more time with your kids. Bro, do it now. What are you talking about? You have 24 hours. That's an eternity. Like, what are you doing all day? Like, sleep for 10 hours. You have 14 hours. Like, that is an immense amount of time every day. Gosh, bro. I don't think here's why I know people don't know how long an hour is. Have you ever tried to do a sit-ups for an hour?
No.
Bro, like I can't do sit-ups for 6 minutes. Like that's how you know how long an hour. Pray nonstop for an hour. Do a push-up nonstop for an hour. Do planks nonstop for an hour. Go run nonstop for an hour. You'll start doing certain things. You'll start realizing how long an hour is. And if you're sitting there, I mean, I know for this for sure. 99% of the parents listening to this, they say they want to spend more time with their kids. They're playing with their kids. 15 minutes goes by, they start checking their phone. You have all the time in the world. You're not spending it. You're not using it wisely. And that's how you get massive wealth is to become very, very intentional with your time.
I love it. Could not have asked for a better way to wrap up this episode.
Mhm.
Take that time, spend it wisely, do the thing, be consistent, take the action, go focus on the stuff, go to real life trading, learn from there. There's so much there. Like I'm telling you literally from experience from a guy who didn't know Jeremy and was like, yeah, let me go just learn about this thing a little bit. And now on the other side of it, I have a quick little story just to wrap this up. So
Yeah, you should tell people how good you've done, bro.
nah, well, this is so in my mind, I've been doing so well with the
Uh-huh.
trading piece, right? And the company that I ended up getting funded through, they host these challenges, these competitions every quarter. So I'm like, you know what? I'm still working on the skill of not having to trade every day. And I've done except like you'd be proud of me. You'd be really proud of me of like on Fridays, I don't even trade anymore. Even though that's one of my more profitable days.
Mhm.
And now magically Mondays have become profitable for me, where before Miami, I was losing on Mondays because I just needed to get in
Mm.
those trades, right? So now Fridays I just focus, I learn, I do my research and all the things.
Love
But I
it.
was like, I'm gonna take 2 weeks off from really trading and I'm gonna do this competition and I'm just gonna go try to win this thing.
Mm.
And yesterday is day one of the competition. I roll up and I know my goal every week consistently is to pump out 3.5, 4% on the money I'm trading with. And I roll up and I do a 3.7% day. And I'm
Mm.
all like, man, I'm a stud rock star. Like I am crushing. And I go look at the leaderboard and some guy pumped out like 32% in one
Oh
day.
my
And
gosh.
I'm like, that was humbling. Cool. Like he almost 10x'd me. I got a long ways to go. And as good as I think I am, which I'm, doing well, right? If I can sit here and turn hundreds of dollars, prop account qualifications, all the pieces, a lot of details and context missing for those of you listening, but into a couple of $1,000 a day, like easy in my mind for me. And some of my friends are like, Steve, that's not easy. No idea what's going on. You're weird. And I'm like, I'm totally weird. I'm down with that.
Yep.
But I then got so humbled by this dude that just went in and smacked me around so hard. And it was just that good reminder of there's always more to learn. And not that I lost that, but it was definitely good timing of like, all right, like I was so like, I'm walking out of here the champion of this thing. Meanwhile, I am middle of the pack at best. So that felt good. That
Oh, I
felt good.
love
I
it.
thought you'd be proud of me taking some
That's
time off of having to
yeah.
trade to go and get smacked around in a competition. Um,
So good.
so
I love I am very proud of you, man. Number one. Number two, being reminded. It might be it might be top 20 favorite feelings on earth to get beat by someone.
Oh,
I love it. I love it, dude, because it is such a good reminder. Such a good reminder. There's levels to this game. I was doing an Ironman not that long ago, and I got passed on the bike by a 63-year-old lady for sure. And I want everyone to know I was hammering it, hammering it. I mean, I'm going 21, 22 miles an hour, which is not bad. Shoo. like what? She's 25, 26 miles an hour, something like that. I mean, getting after it. And I was like, you go, girl. I'm probably not going to be able to catch up to you on the run because this was like 17 miles into the bike. I'm like, she's got this. Never saw her again. I was like, she took my soul. It was so cool. I love experiences like that. So to your point, there's always someone out there that's doing something different or better than you, and that motivates me. A lot of people you'll hear a lot of people will say like, don't compare yourself to others. I love comparing myself to others, dude. I love it. I love it so much because I'm like, first of all, so happy for that person.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
like,
starts to be
I was proud of this guy. He turned 100 grand into 130 grand in a day. Like
yeah,
like, one
exactly.
day. I'm like,
Ooh,
"Dude."
I know. It's so cool. So I just get so happy for other people. I love comparing myself to others because it's actually a joy for me to see other people doing better because it motivates me, it inspires me, it gets me excited. I'm excited for them and I just want to be better. So I get pulled.
Yeah. No, it was good. I figured you'd like that, but
Love it.
Jeremy, I've stolen enough of your time, dude. I can't thank you enough for hopping on. I hope that everybody here gets at least one, if not 101 pieces of information that they can take and run with. Uh, Last question: where is the best place for people to go find you, follow you, learn from you, and just get to maybe be a little bit more inserted into your life?
Thanks, man. I mean, two things. Website, jerremynewsome.com, Jeremy spelled with two R's. And really social media. I mean, if you use social media, I have a great team. They can reach out to me. You can email me, jerremynewsome at gmail. Just find me online and just message me. I have a phenomenal process where I get all the stuff filtered out and I will talk to you me. Like it's not some random, it's me. And after you go through, like, I know that you're a real person and you're not a robot and you need to talk to me, I have plenty of time. I have so much time. It's crazy how much time I have. So I would love to connect and to talk and to help and to pour into you. So just reach out to me. Like Steve said earlier, go to reallifetraining.com, check out some free education. I have 50 hours of free education. jerremynewsome.com is my personal website, and anything on social media, I'd be happy to reach out and connect.
Dude, you're awesome. Thank you again. Appreciate you as always, and can't wait to do this next time.
You got it, champion.